Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots 2 channel. And I've got something I want to share with y'all. It was actually a video clip about 7 days ago that come out from a channel called Wolves and Finance. I watch him occasionally. Sometimes he has some good takes on things. Pretty good investigative reporter. Been doing the YouTube thing for quite a while. Converted over to doing just politics at one point. He's got about almost 250,000 subscribers. So I'm going to call his situation that he's discussing today somewhat credible, just from all the facts that we've seen so far, including the cover-up, which makes it very, very suspicious. Now, what I'm talking about is everybody knows that every time there's an assassination attempt against Trump or any political official, like what happened here in Minnesota this week, the first thing people automatically assume is it's an inside job. There's more than one person involved. It's a conspiracy. And for the most part, I believe this too about a lot of these situations, because there's always these weird details that just don't add up. Like with Ryan Routh, which what this video is actually about, is about him and a book that was written simultaneous to him trying to shoot at Trump. Pretty strange, the details. I would love to read the book myself. If you want to see the link to more information on what I'm discussing with you and going to show you a video of, you can go over to Wolves and Finance and find this particular video and go down in their description, and they have the links there to a couple things that are basically reference points to prove that he is not making this stuff up. And he's got a cooperating witness, which who's to say how credible a cooperating witness is, but it is definitely interesting stuff. This is about a conspiracy involving Ryan Routh. If Matthew Crooks was a lone shooter, no conspiracy involved, he just did it on his own volition to decide to kill Trump, okay, I don't know that to be true. I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist at this point. Ryan Routh, I definitely believe that he was working for one of our government agencies or contracting somebody with some money involved in politics or something going on there, for sure, especially since he did lots of business in Ukraine, including trying to recruit people. How do you get a job trying to recruit people for the government to go fight in another country? I mean, how do you apply for that job? So that makes me think he was definitely being used by the government at the least. And as far as the Minnesota shooter today, what's going on there, I would almost have to say that guy was, it's too early to tell. I'll just leave it at that, because we still got information coming out. And don't believe everything you hear about this Minnesota shooter. I've already seen 2 or 3 different sets of stories, and it's just like a developing story, and the story keeps changing. So I don't want to report on that until we know more. We do know that he had an escape plan in theory, because he had passports and money stashed, and they caught his wife with that stuff as of this morning. But we won't get into that today. We will get into that tomorrow when we've actually got a little more information about it, because by then it'll be hot news all over again. All right, let's go ahead and get into this great video. I won't pick it apart too much. This guy, it's about 15 minutes long, but this guy's theories and conspiracies sound like, if no other shooter that tried to assassinate Trump or even any political official was just a lone shooter, this one with Ryan Routh is the one that I was always most suspicious of. And now, with this story, I'm twice as suspicious. Y'all tell me what you think. All right.
Running for president, there were 2 attempts on his life. The first was in Butler, Pennsylvania. The second happened at the Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach, Florida, when Ryan Routh attempted to shoot Donald Trump but was arrested. These incidents were pivotal moments during the campaign because it made people believe the Democrats could not win legitimately and were attempting to kill Donald Trump in order to win the election.
Sorry for the interruption, folks. Just had to get the weather report from my wife in the middle of the episode. Just, it is what it is. All right, here we go. Back at it.
Fast forward to today. After a government investigation, both the Biden administration and the Trump administration have come out and said that both of the assassination attempts were committed by lone gunmen. I disagree. I have done multiple videos on both the Butler and Florida incidents, and I have shown you the extensive evidence that these actions were not committed by lone gunmen. I think that multiple people were involved in a conspiracy to kill Trump. Here's what you do not know. Ryan Routh attempted to kill Trump on Sunday, September 15th, 2024. The very next day, a book appeared for sale on Amazon titled Ryan Wesley Routh, the Man Behind the Assassination Attempt on Donald Trump, Unveiling the Truth by Alan S. Weber. This book contains a lot of information about the attack, including Ryan Routh's background, details of the attack, the police chase, and capture. It even included details of Ryan Routh's trial that had not happened yet. That's strange. How could a book that was published the day after the attack contain details of the trial? Something seems very strange about this book that was published the day after the incident. This information was sent to me by an internet user named Dave from Kansas, who documented the book before it was quickly taken down off of Amazon. I'm here with Dave from Kansas, and I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about this book. And so I guess my first question would be, can you kind of just describe the process of how you found the book?
All over the news, they were talking about this. Ryan Routh had written a book called The Unwinnable War in the Ukraine. And so a couple of days after the event, I go on Amazon looking for the book, thinking I could find it on Kindle or I could read into it a little bit. And lo and behold, I find a book by someone named Alan Weber about Ryan Routh. And I start digging a little deeper, and I find out that the book was 619 pages long and was published the very next day.
But back to the timeline, because the timeline's really important.
Right.
So the assassination attempt happened on a Sunday, and you're saying that the book was published Monday, and then you're saying that you found it Tuesday morning?
Yes.
And then you purchased it Wednesday. Were you talking with people about what you were finding? I'm curious if you have someone who can corroborate this.
All right, folks. Just want to catch you up if you're not being able to. Let me just explain. I've watched this whole thing a couple of times just to absorb it all, just because there's so much to it. We're only going to watch the part that involves the story about Ryan Routh, but this rabbit hole he goes down is crazy just because the timelines don't work. The book is immediately produced on Amazon for sale the next day, even if it was generated by AI, having it for sale on Amazon by the next day, with scenarios that actually happened later on down the road, like his trial in the book. And then the author, they can't find the author of the book. This is highly suspicious for a lot of reasons, including the fact that the government can find out who the heck was trying to sell this book, because there is an Amazon account involved with the seller. And so I just want to point that out before we go any further. This is getting crazy, folks. Ryan Routh's story told before Ryan Routh actually got to do, tried to do awful things to our president.
Story like family and friends that you told right when you found the book.
Oh, yeah, my mother. And then the people in my office, I had a guy come over and videotape me going through the Kindle book.
Here is the timeline. Sunday, September 15th, the attack happened. Monday, September 16th, the book was published. Tuesday, September 17th, Dave from Kansas found the book online. Wednesday, September 18th, Dave from Kansas uploaded screenshots of the book to YouTube. The timestamp is still visible on his YouTube video. I will link the video in the description down below so that you can see it for yourself. There is also a hard copy version of the book that was purchased from Amazon before it was taken down. Now, I don't have a hard copy of the book, but it is in a safe place. So FBI, do not raid my home because I don't have anything. Now, as far as I can tell, the author, Alan S. Weber, does not exist. It appears that this is a fake name. The cover of the book features an image of a cat. This is from a Scottish painter named Lorraine Macmillan. Why would someone choose an image of a cat for the cover of a book about an assassination attempt? It makes you wonder, is whoever created this book playing a game of cat and mouse? Now you might be wondering, what's the big deal? Someone must have quickly written a book in a day and threw it up on Amazon.
Now, the whole cat theory, that's all his own. I don't know what the cat's about, and I don't really think he knows either.
Amazon to try to make some quick money. But there are more curious things about this book. This is so much more important than you realize. One of the obvious questions is, how did the author write it so fast? If you take sections of the book and input it into an AI detector, it will tell you that the book is 100% generated by artificial intelligence. But you can actually tell a lot of information from AI-generated text. The AI detector can tell that the text was generated using a 3.4 billion parameter model. This is important because at that time, all the major AI websites like ChatGPT and Google were using much larger models. This suggests that this book was generated by someone using a custom-made AI model, something that was designed to be smaller, faster, and use less computing resources. This would not have been a random member of the public. It would have to be someone working for the government, academia, or a private company who has access to a custom-designed artificial intelligence.
Y'all catching this? This is not a search engine that you're going to be able to access on the internet unless you work for some place where you have military clearance type credentials to have maybe, say, a laptop that has AI in it by design. This sounds like something from the government. Having portable AI is with the search engine, with all the towers and the servers. I don't know how that would happen. I think you would have to have a big cooling room in a clean room in your house or in your business or whatever to do this. So this sounds like somebody is either a private entity that's got a lot of money to have their own AI search engine, or it's somebody that has access to one of these three-lettered agencies tools. That's what all it could be.
So since we are talking about AI, I went to AI myself. I asked it to give me a list of the organizations that would have access to their own custom-made AI model that could write this book. The first name on the list is the CIA. It says, the CIA could plausibly use a 3.4 billion model for internal tasks. It's lightweight enough to be efficient while still capable of useful natural language processing tasks. Okay. So we have this book that was written by someone with a custom AI model. But it gets even more strange. It's not likely that a book can be uploaded to Amazon and started selling within 24 hours. If we go to Amazon's own website, they explain that when you self-publish a book, it goes through 4 phases: draft, in review, publishing, and live. Amazon states, the time it takes to complete review varies based on the type of book you submitted, but generally it takes 3 to 10 business days. Once your book is available for purchase, it takes up to 72 hours for it to appear in search results. With these timeframes, it's likely that this book was uploaded to Amazon a week before. Let this sink in. There is a book with all the information on the attempt to kill Donald Trump that was likely uploaded to Amazon 1 week before the attempt happened. I repeat, this book tells the story that Ryan Routh attempted to shoot the president. It explains that his plan was compromised by the vigilant Secret Service agents. He attempted to flee the scene in a high-speed getaway, setting off a tense pursuit that spans several miles. This chase involved multiple law enforcement agencies, including local police and FBI units, who were quickly mobilized to apprehend the suspect. The chase culminated in a dramatic confrontation when Routh's vehicle was finally cornered and he was apprehended without further incident. How is it possible that this book knew all of this information 1 week before it happened? In my opinion, it is because the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump was a hoax. It was a carefully written plan that was known beforehand and carried out by the deep state in order to influence the election. Now, to be clear, I do believe that the first attempt was not a hoax. Clearly, at Butler, Pennsylvania, Donald Trump was shot and people died. But when that attempt failed, I believe a second attempt was designed that would look favorably towards Donald Trump. If you think about it, this protects the deep state. It gives them leverage. Because if the deep state is investigated and found out to be behind the first attempt on Trump's life, you cannot expose that attempt without also exposing the second attempt, which was likely a hoax. This would explain all the unanswered questions about the Ryan Routh incident. Do you remember this?
According to their report, the Secret Service agent who spotted Ryan Routh in the bushes outside Trump's golf course was only 5 feet away when he opened fire and missed him. Not once, not twice, 6 times. He missed him 6 times from 5 feet. How does a trained agent who passed the firearms test miss a target away, 5 feet away? That's not all. The report says the Secret Service found out at 2:30 in the morning that Trump would be golfing later that day, but they didn't secure the course, allowing Routh to camp out for 12 hours before anyone saw him.
The Secret Service was 5 feet away, fired 6 shots, and did not hit him at all.
That doesn't actually prove anything other than the Secret Service is not a good shot.
You are telling me that the most elite security force in the world cannot hit someone 5 feet away. This only makes sense if it was all a hoax. Ryan Routh was supposed to get away so that he could get arrested after a police chase, just like it was laid out in the book. It's crazy to me that no one is looking into this book. Don't the Democrats care that there is evidence that the incident that cost them the presidential election was a hoax? But hold on, there's more. The way that artificial intelligence works is it needs source material. If AI did write this book, someone would have had to given it some kind of source material where it could pull its information. If we look at the text, there are some telltale signs that the source material did not include newspaper articles of the event. For instance, the book does not include details like locations. No names are used other than Ryan Routh, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden. It is missing the specifics that would have been included if AI had access to newspaper articles, another indication that this book was created before the incident occurred.
Could it also be that they were trying to be vague so they couldn't be wrong about their accuracy because they were maybe had some wind of it? Maybe it was a hoax. I don't know. I do know that this is an interesting take on it. I'll leave it there with you folks. This is a 40-minute long video. If you are welcome to dig into it. This gets a little crazier as it goes, but in reality, I believe this guy worked for our government and they helped him until they didn't. And maybe this was all a setup, or maybe there's an answer that nobody knows yet because the deep state is hiding it. I would definitely, if I was Cash Patel and Dan Bongino, would be asking the questions about the Ryan Routh and the Thomas Crooks and this Minnesota guy. I would be asking the right questions instead of saying nothing to see here. And I can't speak for them, but I have not seen a whole lot of action come out of these two when it comes to big cases like this. But this is one that definitely needs to be investigated. Here it is, Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And I still worry about the guy, one of the, I guess I would say not fathers of our country, but one of the leaders of our country who acts like everybody's father. I'm talking about Donald Trump, and I worry about his safety every day because you never know what's coming around the next corner. And there's a lot of crazy people out there, and they've proven that this week alone with the shootings, just how far they'll go to get their way. Everybody needs to keep their head on a swivel. Be careful. Stay out of these protests, no matter how you feel about them, no matter what side of the politics you're on. But all in all, I got to get busy fixing to go feed the homeless here directly, and I hear it thundering out there, so I am going to have to get in a hurry to get this done today. Hopefully I'll see y'all over on the live I'll be doing directly, unless I get rained out. Thanks for listening, devoted patriots. Over and out.